Hi, I'm John Maxwell. When the top companies in the world are looking for trainers, speakers, and coaches, there's one name that stands above the rest, and that's Maxwell Leadership. Our certified team members have gotten proven results for companies all over the globe, and our reputation, I'm proud to say, is second to none. Some of our members have risen to the top of their profession, including the one you're going to meet today. I proudly introduce you to my friend Bob Fabian Zinka.
Welcome to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ. If you need to develop into a better leader, this podcast is for you. If you want to achieve a greater level of success, this podcast is for you. His mentor, Dr. John C. Maxwell, said it best: everything rises and falls on leadership. We hope to inspire you today and provide you with an insight that has the potential to positively impact the trajectory of your life. Welcome to the Leadership and Success Podcast.
Imagine gaining the leadership skills that could redefine your career. Join Coach BZ on the Leadership and Success Podcast, where each episode delivers practical insights from world-class speakers, military leaders, and industry experts. We dive deep into what matters most: building resilient teams, leading through uncertainty, and navigating complexity with clarity and confidence. Every conversation is crafted for aspiring leaders like you who are ready to grow, lead, and make a lasting impact. Don't miss our powerful live sessions and recent highlights. Michelle Hayward on building diverse, high-performing technical teams. Ann Leslie on leading through global complexity and cybersecurity risk. Ron Carpenter AI exploring faith, resilience, and AI-powered leadership. Colonel Michelle G.I. Gardner-Ince on commanding influence from the battlefield to the boardroom. Chris Robinson on shifting from drift to drive in life and leadership. And Coach Enrique Acosta Gonzalez on mentorship, legacy, and heart-centered leadership. Ready to level up your leadership journey? Tune in on Spotify, Apple, Audible Podcasts, YouTube Live, and LinkedIn Live. Join the movement toward leadership excellence. Listen now and start transforming your success. What if your next keynote speaker could bridge the worlds of national defense, Silicon Valley innovation, and global leadership? Meet Bob Fabian, BZ Zinga, award-winning keynote speaker, U.S. Navy Information Warfare Commander, and trusted executive in technology, leadership, and strategy. With over 20 years of proven leadership in the U.S. Department of Defense, the U.S. Navy, higher education, and the high-tech sector, from startups to Fortune 500 companies, BZ delivers keynote experiences that inspire, challenge, and equip leaders for real-world impact. BZ speaks with authority on cybersecurity and national security, strategies to safeguard critical assets in an age of constant threat, artificial intelligence and emerging technology, how to innovate responsibly while staying ahead of disruption, leadership and corporate governance, building resilient, ethical, and high-performance organizations in any environment. Every keynote blends military precision, Silicon Valley agility, and boardroom strategy, delivering practical takeaways that leaders can apply immediately. Audiences leave inspired, informed, and ready to lead with clarity and courage. Whether you're hosting a global conference, corporate summit, or leadership retreat, book BZ to energize your event and empower your audience to lead in a rapidly changing world.
Hello, everyone. This is Coach BZ. Thank you so much for being with me. It's about 7:35 a.m. Pacific time, 10:30 a.m. Washington, D.C. Eastern Time. Thanks again for being here with me. Today on our daily podcast, we are going to talk about a subject that is pretty important to me. We are going to be talking about leading through connected teamwork. All right, so this is our subject today. And I'm going to be sharing about leadership lesson from my journey from Seaman Recruit, which is E1 to U.S. Navy Commander 05 senior officer. They say in the Navy, less than 4% of sailors attain that rank. And from helpdesk intern to cybersecurity executive here in Silicon Valley, you will discover our trust, mentorship, And servant leadership can turn individual into a high-performing connected teams in the military, tech, and beyond. And you can go through the full article on LinkedIn to read through this. But that's pretty much what we're going to be talking about today. So before I get started, if you would please make sure to like the post and let us know where you are coming from. I'd like to know where you are joining us from. We have a global audience now. And also, if you have any question for me, go ahead and type it in the comment. I'm going to make sure to answer you by the end of the podcast. And we are streaming live on LinkedIn and on YouTube as well. And also, if you would please tag someone who you think would benefit from this podcast, I would appreciate it very, very much. And yeah, and also as you listen to the podcast, please type in your highlight. And especially, I am interested in one insight that you are going to be able to put in practice this week, because I do believe that leadership is practical, right? You don't really know anything until you actually do it. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to have my AI agent take it from here. And again, if you have a question for me, just type it in the comments. See you in about 20 minutes.
Welcome, everyone. Today, we are diving into leadership that truly connects, how you transform a group of individuals into an unbreakable team. Think about going from the deck plates of a Navy ship to the boardroom of Silicon Valley.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a journey that shows leadership is less about your rank and more about your character and connection.
Right. And you know what's striking? The idea that leadership is not about titles, but about the action you take and the connections you build with your people. How does that sound to you?
It sounds spot on. What really resonated with me is the notion that early on, even as an E1, one can lead by showing integrity and a strong
Yep,
work
exactly.
ethic. It really challenges the traditional view that authority comes solely with rank.
And that's where servant leadership comes right in. I mean, serving others above yourself isn't exactly the norm in some circles. How do you see that playing out in both military and tech environments?
It's like a common thread. Whether you're on a battleship or in a startup office, putting mission and people first is key.
Right.
Leaders, like in the article, learned early that checking your ego and empowering your team multiplies success. When you create a culture of trust and genuine care, everyone starts pulling together.
That reminds me of the statistic mentioned. Only 30% of employees feel connected to their organization's mission. That's pretty alarming, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's a wake-up call that without intentional connection, teams risk falling apart. That 30% stat tells us that most people aren't feeling the fuel of purpose they should be.
Yes.
Leaders must actively engage through personal check-ins, not just about projects, but with real human questions.
Speaking of personal check-ins, I recall the article discussing how real feedback, even the tough kind, should be shared daily rather than reserved for annual reviews. How effective do you think that approach is?
Oh, it's super effective. It's like turning feedback into a daily connecting practice. Imagine swapping out "I'm never critiquing you" for "I value your growth." So here's a piece of feedback as a
Exactly.
gift. It not only improves performance, but it builds trust and accountability.
Right, but don't you think some leaders might worry that constant feedback could feel micromanaging? How do you strike that balance?
Good point. I mean, it definitely requires finesse. The art is in delivering feedback with empathy and genuine care.
Yes.
Instead of making it about policing every move, it's about mentoring, recognizing achievements, and guiding corrections as opportunities for growth.
And that really ties into the idea that influence beats authority. In Silicon Valley, for instance, no matter what your title is, you earn respect by engaging directly with your team, right?
Absolutely, yes. Leaders there learned the hard way that blasting out formal policy emails doesn't create connection. It was when they started physically going to where the action is, like visiting the developer hub every Thursday, that things shifted. That physical presence
Right on.
translates into real influence because it shows you're willing to be a partner, not just a commander.
I love that. Shifting from an enforcement mindset to a solution-oriented one, like, let's figure out how you can do that safely, rather than saying, no, you can't do that. It really redefines trust, doesn't it?
Exactly. And it's all about mutual accountability. When something goes wrong, a connected leader owns it. It's not about passing the blame. In the article, there's that memorable moment when a mistake was immediately owned, and that vulnerability built even more
Yep.
trust. It's a powerful lesson in resilience.
Speaking of resilience, isn't it interesting how connection fuels not just performance, but also the capacity to weather crises, like how military teams and tech teams both rely on that deep trust during tough times?
Oh, most definitely. It's like, truly, when you feel supported by your team, you're willing to go the extra mile, whether it's during a 2 a.m. incident call in tech or a high pressure deployment
Yeah,
at sea.
exactly.
That resilience is a direct result of knowing you're not in it alone. In fact, it's a force multiplier for the whole group.
And that ties back to the whole concept of connected teams win, that when everyone is linked through genuine care, you can move mountains. But I wonder, don't some critics say that too much focus on connection might slow down decision making in fast paced environments?
That's a fair challenge. I mean, some might worry that intentional connection takes time away from immediate tasks.
Yes.
However, when you think about it, investing even a few extra minutes in connecting daily actually streamlines problem solving over the long run. It prevents miscommunication and errors that can cost much more time later.
Exactly. The upfront time investment pays off in reduced friction and accelerated collaboration. And really, isn't that what leadership is all about? Turning individual effort into collective brilliance?
Absolutely right. And let's not forget the importance of psychological safety. Creating an environment where people feel safe to take risks, admit mistakes, and bring up ideas without fear of punishment is essential. One of the most effective strategies mentioned was openly embracing mistakes as learning opportunities. That vulnerability
Oh,
is
for sure.
contagious and builds a culture of continuous improvement.
Yes, and that is critical in today's hybrid and remote work environments. Without the natural, in person interactions, leaders have to design that safety and connection intentionally. What practical steps do you think any leader can take to foster that environment?
Well, one key step is regular one-on-one check-ins that go way beyond just discussing tasks. Ask about personal well-being, career aspirations, even how their family is doing. It's as simple as that. Even
Yeah, I
something
love
like
that.
simple daily or weekly virtual coffee chats can make a huge difference in maintaining connectedness.
I agree. And then there's the importance of shared understanding. Establishing a clear mission and making sure every team member understands how their role contributes is vital. It combats that unsettling feeling of drifting in a dispersed work environment.
Right, it's like having a compass. When everyone knows the why behind what they're doing, they're more engaged and invested. That
Definitely.
sense of purpose aligns everyone, whether you're on a Navy ship or in a tech startup.
I also found it fascinating how lessons from the military, such as the notion that leadership is solving problems, and that if your team stops bringing you problems, you failed to lead, translate so well into modern corporate scenarios.
Yes, those military principles, forged under extreme pressure, underscore that proactive communication is key. Leaders need to ensure the channels for feedback and problem solving are always open. This not only preempts crises, but also solidifies trust. It's that relentless responsibility for
Right,
not only
absolutely.
outcomes, but also for the people behind them.
And speaking of responsibility, I can't help but be impressed by the idea that a true leader is willing to take personal ownership of failures, reshaping mistakes into lessons for growth. It's a refreshing alternative to blame shifting.
Yes, that's essential. When a leader owns a mistake, saying, "That one's on me," it creates a safe space for everyone. It shows that vulnerabilities aren't liabilities, they're opportunities to grow together.
Exactly.
That's a manifestation of servant leadership at its finest.
So, pulling it all together, it seems the secret weapon here is connection, fostering an environment of trust, empathy, and shared purpose that transforms and amplifies effective leadership. Would you agree with that summary?
Totally agree. Connection acts as that force multiplier, making every team interaction count. Whether you're nurturing technical skills or building human bonds, the goal is to ignite that spirit of "we're in this together," And now,
Absolutely.
this approach is even more critical in our current post-COVID world, where natural human touch is often missing.
It really is a call to action for all leaders, not just to communicate, but to truly connect, genuinely listen, embrace feedback, and show empathy every single day.
Right. And the practical strategies are clear. Cultivate psychological safety. Create a shared understanding of mission and roles. Practice proactive and transparent communication. Foster mutual support. And encourage growth through shared learning. Each of these steps
Yes,
reinforces
indeed.
connection. They are steps every leader can implement, regardless of industry or rank.
Before we wrap up, one last point. There's real wisdom in reflecting on how we lead. In the article, there are even reflection questions drawn from timeless sources that ask leaders to consider who on your team do you support today? Or how can you make someone's journey a bit lighter? What's your take on that?
I couldn't agree more. It's about daily intentionality. When leaders ask themselves, how can I connect more today? They build a legacy of empathy and
Absolutely, yep.
resilience. That's the kind of self-reflection that not only improves the leader, but empowers the whole team to be their best selves.
So, in a nutshell, whether you're a Navy commander or a tech executive, the message is clear. Be the leader who connects. Lead by example. Listen with intent, and always put your team first.
Exactly. And remember, every connection strengthens the fabric of your team, making it resilient enough to navigate any storm.
Right on.
Thanks for this engaging conversation. Here's to all leaders out there making that tangible difference every day.
Thank you. And to everyone listening, go ahead and take a small step today. A check-in call, a sincere thank you note, a moment of shared feedback, and watch how it transforms your team's dynamics.
Well said. Keep connecting, keep inspiring, and keep leading with both heart and purpose. That's our note for today. Frequently asked questions, FAQs. 1. What is the core philosophy of leadership? The core philosophy of leadership highlighted throughout the text is leadership grounded in genuine connection. This means that effective leadership is not primarily about rank, authority, or technical skill, but rather about building trust, fostering open communication, and prioritizing the well-being and growth of team members. The author, Bob Fabien B.Z. Zinga, emphasizes that this connected teamwork acts as a force multiplier, elevating the success of any team, whether in military or corporate settings.
2. How does Commander Zinga's journey from military service to the tech industry illustrate key leadership principles? The author's journey from a Seaman Recruit, E1, in the U.S. Navy to a Commander, O5, and then from an IT novice to a tech executive in Silicon Valley demonstrates several key leadership principles. In the Navy, he learned that leadership has nothing to do with rank and everything to do with action and character, emphasizing servant leadership by putting the mission and people's needs first. This included being approachable, solving problems collaboratively, taking responsibility for failures, and sharing credit for successes. In the tech world, he realized that authority isn't given, it's earned through trust and influence, shifting from enforcing rules to enabling the team. Both experiences underscored the importance of a learner's attitude, resilience, and investing in the growth of people.
3. What is servant leadership, and how does it manifest in practice? Servant leadership, as described in the text, means putting the mission and your people's needs above your own. It involves checking your ego, empowering others to shine, and growing and empowering individuals. In practice, this means being approachable to your team members, helping to solve their problems together rather than scolding them, and taking responsibility for outcomes, especially when a team member makes a mistake. The author exemplifies this by prioritizing enabling the team. Let's figure out how you can do that safely, over enforcing directives, and by sharing credit for success while owning failures. It also means showing genuine care for individuals, listening first, and actively soliciting feedback.
4. Why is connection considered the secret weapon in leadership, especially in the post-COVID era? Connection is deemed the secret weapon because it is the force multiplier that elevates any team's performance and morale. The text argues that while everyone communicates, few truly connect, and genuine connection fosters deeper trust, collaboration, and support. In the post-COVID era, with more hybrid and remote work, intentional cultivation of connectedness is mission critical, as studies show a significant drop in employee connection to their company's mission. Without it, engagement drops, performance suffers, and talent leaves. Connection allows teams to weather storms, enhances resilience, and transforms a group of individuals into a cohesive, high-performing unit.
5. What are the practical strategies for building connected teams? The article outlines several practical strategies for building connected teams. Cultivate psychological safety. Create an environment where team members feel safe to speak up, share ideas, and admit mistakes without fear of punishment, modeled by the leader's vulnerability and responsiveness. Create shared understanding, mission, roles, goals. Ensure everyone understands the why behind their work, how their role fits into the bigger mission, and what success looks like. Practice proactive communication. Over-communicate, check in regularly, use visuals, and encourage candid updates, recognizing that no news is not good news. Foster mutual support and empathy. Celebrate wins together, have each other's backs during challenges, and genuinely care for team members as individuals. Encourage growth and shared learning. Promote a culture of continuous improvement through cross-training, mentorship, up, down, and sideways, and active solicitation of feedback.
6. How do trust and influence play a crucial role in effective leadership, particularly in engineering-driven cultures? Trust and influence are presented as the real linchpins of leadership, especially in engineering-driven cultures, where authority is not automatically granted. The author's experience at Pivotal Software, Inc. illustrates this. Initial attempts to enforce security policies through directives resulted in radio silence because he hadn't built rapport. By changing course, engaging in person, and adopting a servant leadership approach, let's figure out how you can do that safely. He earned trust and influence. This allowed engineers to proactively seek his input, demonstrating that influence beats authority every time, leading to genuine collaboration.
7. What role does feedback play in fostering connected teams, and how should it be approached? Feedback is described as the lifeblood of a connected team and an intentional day-to-day connecting practice. It should be approached as a gift given by people who care about our development, rather than a criticism. Regular, caring feedback, even when difficult, builds trust over time. Leaders are encouraged to actively solicit feedback from their teams and bosses, demonstrating a commitment to growth and valuing others' perspectives. This mindset removes the sting of criticism and replaces it with gratitude, strengthening connections and understanding within the team.
8. What is Commander Zinga's ultimate challenge or call to action for leaders based on these principles? The author's ultimate challenge and call to action is for leaders to be the leader who connects and to intentionally invest in their team's connectedness. He asserts that while technology and AI are advancing, human connection remains the key differentiator, and no algorithm can replicate empathy, vision, and inspiration. The challenge is to take daily steps to strengthen connections, whether through simple appreciation notes, personal check-ins, or actively seeking feedback. The author believes that connected teams win, and by fostering trust in a we're in this together culture, leaders can turn a group of individuals into an unbreakable team, regardless of their rank or title.
Think on these things. What's truly striking about Bob Fabian Zinga's approach to leadership is not just how grounded it is in real-world experience, from the Navy's chain of command to the flat teams of Silicon Valley, but how it's also informed by timeless wisdom. In his article, Bob draws on scripture. Yes, ancient texts written thousands of years ago, and reveals just how relevant they remain for leaders navigating today's chaotic and complex world. This isn't about preaching. It's about principles, unchanging truths that have guided great leaders across generations. What's powerful here is how seamlessly these insights complement everything we've explored so far. Let's walk through each of these ancient verses Bob highlights and unpack what they mean for today's leader, military or tech, startup or enterprise. Ecclesiastes 4:9-10, NIV. Two are better than one, because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. Leadership insight. True teamwork is more than collaboration. It's mutual accountability and shared resilience. When we're connected, we don't just work together. We lift each other up when setbacks hit. Coaching prompt. Who's someone on your team you could support or encourage today? What can you do to ensure no one feels alone in their mission?
Proverbs 27:17, NIV. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. Leadership insight. Connected teams challenge and refine one another. Healthy conflict, constructive feedback, and mentorship are essential to growth, especially in high-performance cultures. Coaching prompt. Are you surrounding yourself with people who sharpen your character and leadership? Who are you sharpening in return?
1 Peter 4:10, NAV. Each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. Leadership insight. Great teams honor the diversity of strengths within them. Servant leaders call out and activate those strengths, not for self-gain, but to advance a shared purpose. Coaching prompt. Have you made space this week for someone on your team to shine in their unique gift? How are you stewarding your team's collective talents?
Romans 12:4-5, NIV. Just as each of us has one body with many members, so in Christ we, though many, form one body, and each member belongs to all the others. Leadership insight. Unity doesn't mean uniformity. A connected team honors interdependence. Different roles, equal value, same mission. Coaching prompt. Do your team members know how their role fits into the broader mission? How are you celebrating both individual contributions and team outcomes?
Philippians 2:3-4, NIV. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interests, but each of you to the interests of the others. Leadership. Insight. The best leaders don't demand loyalty. They earn it through humility, service, and genuine care for others' success. Coaching prompt. In your leadership today, where can you elevate someone else's needs or vision above your own? How might that shift team morale?
Matthew 20:26-28, NIV. Whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve. Leadership insight. Servant leadership is the foundation of connected teamwork. Influence grows when leaders roll up their sleeves and go first in serving the mission and the people. Coaching prompt. Where can you model servant leadership today? In a task, a decision, or a conversation? How can you make someone's path clearer or lighter? So, as we wrap up today's episode of the Leadership and Success Podcast with Coach BZ, we invite you to reflect. What spoke to you today? Which leadership insight will you carry into tomorrow? What are your 3 takeaways from this episode? What's one leadership insight you've just learned or been reminded of that you'll apply this week? Type it in the comments so others can grow from your insight. And tag a colleague, junior officer, or tech leader who could benefit from this episode. Join us again tomorrow right here for the next episode in this powerful leadership series. Until then, keep growing, keep leading, and as always, stay resilient.
All right, thank you so much for being here with me today. I'm gonna check LinkedIn to see if there are any questions. I don't see any. Okay, but even during the replay, you can go ahead and type a question and tag me, and I'm gonna make sure to answer your question for the next podcast, which will be tomorrow. Right, I do this every single day, and also even while you watch the replay, if you have a question, just go ahead and post it in the comment. But again, make sure to tag me and always let me know where you are joining us from. I'd like to know which country, city, state you guys are coming from, and also uh, make sure to tag someone else if you think this podcast may benefit them. Okay, uh, today is an exception since I didn't do a podcast yesterday, so I'm going to do 2 podcasts today back to back. So in a couple of minutes, I'm going to come back for episode 48. Let me see if I have something to show that here. Yeah, here we go. So I'm going to be talking today about this leadership within generation. Okay, so leading across 5 generation, a Navy commander's journey from military to Silicon Valley leadership. So that is quite important, especially right here now in 2025. It is really amazing how you could be working at a place and you have people now as old as 80 years old still working, and you have people as young as my kids, right? Gen Zs just getting started in the workforce. You could have up to 5 generations working in one place. How do you do that? How do you handle it? How do you lead in such a dynamic and diverse environment? So that's going to be next. See you back here in a couple of minutes.
Thank you for listening to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ. If you like what you heard, please subscribe to our channels and come back for more wisdom nuggets on how you may develop into a better leader and achieve greater levels of success. Leadership is the most critical skill. The world will always need leaders to lead others, deploy the next disruptive technology, or execute a business strategy. You may as well decide on counting yourself among the 21st century leaders. See you right here next time on the Leadership and Success Podcast with Coach BZ.